The dresser, Joseph Dudek, was 2 years old. On May 24, 2017, his father put him down for a nap in his bedroom in Buena Park, California. When he came back to check on his son, he found the boy underneath a 70-pound IKEA Malm 3-drawer dresser. Joseph died later that day from crush injuries to his neck that caused him to suffocate. The dresser had been purchased by the family in 2008. In June 2016, nearly a year before Joseph's death, IKEA issued the largest furniture recall in history, pulling more than 17 million Malm dressers from circulation after 3 toddlers in Pennsylvania, Washington State, and Minnesota had already been killed by the same model tipping onto them. The recall was announced publicly. IKEA had the Dudek family's contact information on file. They were registered members of IKEA's loyalty program and had purchased the dresser using an IKEA credit card. They were never contacted. The dresser was not anchored to the wall. IKEA's own instructions required wall anchoring, but the hardware was packaged separately and never installed. The dresser was stable when loaded evenly. It was not stable when a toddler pulled on an open drawer. Between 2000 and 2019, 451 children under 17 were killed in the United States by tipping furniture and televisions. 79% were under the age of 6. 55% were crushed. IKEA settled the Dudek family's lawsuit for $46 million, the largest wrongful death settlement for a child in American legal history. It was Joseph's father who found him. The laundry pod. Michael Williams was 7 months old. He was living with his mother at a battered women's shelter in Kissimmee, Florida, in August 2013. His mother had been given several Almighty Packs laundry detergent pods by the shelter as part of a standard supplies distribution. She placed the pods inside a laundry basket on the bed where Michael was sleeping, then stepped away briefly. When she returned, Michael had ingested 1 pod and was beginning on a second. Laundry detergent pods had been introduced to the U.S. market in 2010. Manufacturers designed them for convenience, a single concentrated dose of detergent sealed in a water-soluble casing. The casing dissolves on contact with moisture. A child's saliva is enough. The concentration of detergent inside a single pod is significantly higher than in a full cap of liquid detergent. Symptoms of ingestion include vomiting, respiratory failure, coma, and cardiac arrest. The bright colors and soft, pliable texture of the pods make them visually indistinguishable from toys or candy to an infant. Emergency responders arrived to find Michael coughing. He was transported to Osceola Regional Medical Center. His condition deteriorated rapidly, and he died at the hospital. Michael Williams was the first confirmed fatality caused by laundry detergent pod ingestion in the United States. In the first 7 months of 2013 alone, more than 5,700 children under 5 had been exposed to laundry pods and required poison control intervention. The pods had been on shelves for 3 years. The window-blind Colton Shiro was 22 months old. In October 2013, his mother Erin put him down for a nap in their home in Tennessee. When she went to check on him, she found him tangled in a window-blind cord. She could not free him in time. The hazard had been formally documented by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission since 1977, when regulators identified looped window-blind cords as a strangulation risk for children. It had been known informally since the 1940s. A cord wrapped around a toddler's neck compresses the carotid arteries and windpipe simultaneously. Consciousness can be lost in as few as 15 seconds. Death follows within 2 to 3 minutes. The child makes no sound. Colton's mother later said, "My son died in less time than it takes to pop a bag of popcorn." Presley Marie Eastburn, 4 years old, died in 2015 after becoming entangled in a family room blind cord while her parents were in the next room. 3-year-old Elsie Mahe, daughter of former NFL player Reno Mahe, was found dead in her home in November 2016. Reuben Vollmer, 17 months old, strangled in his crib in 1989 while reaching for the cord hanging above him. NBC News documented at least 440 children strangled to death by window-covering cords in the United States between 1973 and 2023. In the same period, the industry issued voluntary guidelines. No mandatory federal standard was enacted until 2022. The recliner. The gap between the footrest and the seat of a recliner chair measures on average between 5 and 7 inches when the chair is extended. In 1985, a safety review team at the Consumer Product Safety Commission identified this gap as a strangulation hazard for young children. In 1988, the American Furniture Manufacturers Association issued voluntary guidelines recommending that the gap measure no more than 5 inches. The gap remained. When a child between the ages of 12 and 36 months crawls headfirst into the open footrest of a reclined chair, the jaw catches on the edge of the seat. The child's body weight, pressing downward, wedges the head in place. The footrest edge compresses the windpipe. The child cannot call out. Parents in adjacent rooms hear nothing. The CPSC has documented multiple child deaths resulting from this mechanism. One 18-month-old boy was found unresponsive beneath a reclining couch. The official cause of death was recorded as mechanical asphyxia. A set of twin toddlers were playing with a recliner when one closed the footrest on his brother's chest. The cause of death was compressional asphyxia. In a separate case, emergency responders had to cut the chair apart to free a child who could not be removed. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The CPSC sent a formal letter to ASTM International's Furniture Safety Committee in 2023 requesting mandatory standards addressing recliner entrapment. As of that year, no mandatory federal standard for recliner gap dimensions existed. The electric blanket. In December 2005, a 41-year-old man in Taiwan was found unresponsive in bed, lying on an electric blanket that had been in use through the night. His wife, who shared the bed, was found unconscious beside him. When paramedics measured her temperature at the hospital, it was 40 degrees Celsius. She recovered. Her husband was declared dead at the scene. His rectal temperature at the time of examination was 41.2 degrees Celsius, 106.2 degrees Fahrenheit, a level at which the brain begins to sustain irreversible damage within minutes. The electric blanket had malfunctioned. Its thermostat had failed to regulate heat output, and the blanket had continued heating through the night without cycling off. Because the heat built gradually and evenly, neither occupant of the bed woke up. The same year, a 13-year-old girl was found dead in bed under identical circumstances. Her rectal temperature at examination was 41 degrees Celsius. She had been sleeping alone on a single electric blanket that had similarly failed to regulate. Both deaths were documented in a 2006 forensic pathology case report published in the American Journal of Forensic Medicine and Pathology. The authors noted that heat stroke deaths caused by electric blankets are almost never suspected at scene. The appearance is indistinguishable from natural causes, and there are no visible injuries. Standard autopsy findings are nonspecific. The diagnosis requires temperature measurement and a careful examination of the bedding. The pressure cooker Begonia Muniz Garcia was 36 years old and 5 months pregnant. She was preparing a meal for her husband and mother-in-law at their home in Spain when the pressure cooker exploded. The exact cause of the explosion was not determined publicly, but pressure cooker failures typically result from a blocked steam valve, a failed gasket, or a lid mechanism that allows the vessel to be opened while still under pressure. A pressure cooker operates by trapping steam inside a sealed vessel, raising the internal temperature well above the normal boiling point of water, typically to around 120 degrees Celsius at standard operating pressure. When the vessel fails, it does not simply open. The sudden release of pressurized steam and superheated liquid propels the lid and contents outward at force. The scalding liquid disperses across a wide radius. At the countertop heights where pressure cookers are typically used, the face, neck, and upper chest bear the primary impact. Begonia Muniz. Garcia died from her injuries. She was 5 months pregnant. 3 other pressure cooker fatalities documented in the same period include a worker at a commercial food facility in the United States who fell into an industrial pressure vessel and was not discovered for 2 hours, by which point the temperature inside had reached 270 degrees Fahrenheit. The company was charged with his death. Annual kitchen fire data from the National Fire Protection Association records an average of 550 cooking-related deaths per year in the United States. Pressure cooker explosions represent a fraction of that number, but the injuries they produce are among the most severe of any domestic appliance.